The market is absolutely crazy right now. Let's talk cards. Let's Talk Cards podcast brought to you and powered by Auburn.cards. And got Zac Blackerby here, Elijah Reed joining the conversation. And let's dive right into it. You guys were at Culture Collision down in Atlanta, just outside of Atlanta this weekend. Zac, you said on the podcast on Wednesday you were just going to be there on Friday. Elijah, you were there all weekend. What was your overall impression? Elijah, I'll start with you. What was your overall impression with Culture Collision this year compared to maybe some of the past shows you've been to?
Yeah, I think comparatively, like to last year's Culture Collision, the foot traffic was a little low. No lack of amazing cards. The vendors were awesome. The amount of heat that was in the room was absolutely insane. You see some of the craziest cards, but I think the foot traffic was a little low. That might be due to Collecticon was the same weekend, so it might be due to that. I think Minnesota had a card show this weekend. That's a pretty big one, which might have drew a little bit of the foot traffic. So that would be my only gripe. The trade night was awesome. The vibes were immaculate. They had the fight on. They had free pizza, free beers, free drinks for everybody, waters, and the trade night was awesome. But I think the show itself was just a little lacking on the foot traffic. Would you agree, Zach?
Yeah. This was my first Culture Collision. I was very excited, and I thought the venue was fantastic.
Yeah, the venue was awesome.
The parking situation was great. The signage was fantastic. But yeah, the foot traffic just never really picked up. And Christian, like you said, I was only there on Friday, and so it was very easy to be like, okay, either folks would come after work because Friday was open till 8 p.m. or folks would come on Saturday. And that just didn't really happen. I did a lot of the TCG stuff, and I talked with and did deals with several other like Pokemon vendors. And a lot of them were setting up at Culture on Friday, and then they were all going to Collecticon the following days, which I thought was interesting. Then as far as the sports stuff, yeah, like we had some folks come to the table with some really, really good cards, but they wanted either at or like 110% on comps a lot of the time. And it's like, look, you might get this, but we can't. It doesn't make sense for us to do that. So the cards were there for sure. Yeah, just that level of foot traffic was a little surprising.
Well, first thing you brought up that already got to my mind, you said free beer. That's my ultimate favorite beer is a free beer. So just want to put that out there. But Elijah, you said there's some monster hits that you saw. You saw some really big cards over the weekend. Any that really popped out to your eyes? Did you grab any this weekend as well that really were going to maybe into your PC or ones that you're ready to flip right away?
Well, there was no lack of like Kobe autos, LeBron autos, even a couple Jordan autos that were there. And those are, the cream of the crop when it comes to, sports cards, in my opinion. But one of the bigger ones I picked up this weekend was a PSA 10 LeBron James Kaboom from this year's set. What is that set?
Revolution, right?
Yeah, Revolutions.
Yeah.
Vertical, that's hobby. That was like the biggest piece I picked up this weekend, and I'm super excited to bring that one home. And it's been something I've been chasing for a while. A really nice LeBron James Kaboom, and that market is just totally high right now.
Hey, question on the vertical kabooms for NBA. I know with football, it's strictly hobby, the vertical, and horizontals retail. And we're just kind of guessing that there's around 20-ish vertical for football per player. Is that a similar thing for basketball? Like, are there around 20, like it's short printed around 20-ish, not numbered, obviously, but that's like the assumption. Is that the same for basketball?
I don't think so. I think so. I think for this LeBron, it's like between 9s and 10s, and the PSA Pop Report is probably like around 60. Whereas like versus football for a vertical kaboom is probably be like less than 20 overall pop.
There's already 60 in this year's Revolution of LeBron James kabooms.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Between 9s.
Why do you think they do that?
60.
Why do you think they don't not number it and then just have like this illusion of a short print?
I don't know. I think it might be Panini, the license ending, and them just pumping out as many as they can. Again, that's all speculative. I honestly don't know. That's just my assumption. I know like other case hits, like the Color Blast that usually come out of Spectra for basketball, they put that into Mosaic. That's a retail product that you can get off the shelf. Whereas Spectra, that was hobby only. So I think they're putting more and more of these Color Blasts and case hits.
Same in football, they added Color Blast to Phoenix this year as well. So I mean, it really just seems like And we saw it with Uptowns, right? They added
Yep.
Uptowns to Optic for football this year. It's like, let's just add and just totally saturate this case hits the last year that Panini has the license.
Yeah, and another argument, Downtowns is usually for basketball is usually like a Panini 1-in-1 exclusive. Now that's in Optic, and it's weird. It's an Optic, and it's also in Panini 1-in-1, which is insane to me. So it's like, what is?
They're different Downtowns, though, right?
No, I think they're the same art, and one might just say Optic, and the other might say Panini 1-in-1 on the back. But I think it's the same art. I don't think there's a major difference.
Before we move on here, Zach, what was your best takeaway on Friday before we move on to asking a little bit more about how this really ties into the post-national? That's what I want to dig into next.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk more from just the TCG side just for a second. A lot of the e-reader generation of stuff, like we couldn't keep any of those. And like I stickered those a little bit higher than comp, and half of them ended up selling just because people can't get enough of Expedition or Sky Ridge, era stuff for Pokemon. And then for sports, I mean, I think Elijah talked about it, like the big hits right now, like the higher end stuff. I mean, it's never been a better time in the hobby to move 4-figure cards. I don't think there's any debate about that.
I agree. And a bunch of vendors told me the same thing. He was like, dude, last year at Coach Collision, these higher end cards, they would not move. And that was from multiple vendors that told me that. He's like, this year I can't keep them, and I can't buy enough of them to meet that demand. It's like, I agree. I mean, the high end market is definitely hot right now.
Well, we've had to adjust what we do, because we used to be able to buy them for 80-85% and sell them for 90-95.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody's having to pay 95 to 90-95%. And then
98, you're good at 98 on certain cards. Like,
on the right card, you just pay comps. And it's like, yeah, great, cool. You're better selling it in person than you are at eBay at that point. And then a lot of these, if it's the right player, if it's the right case hit and the right product, you can sell it for a price that's never been sold for online, just because the demand is so there for some of these high-end case hits.
Yeah, you can set that new comp. You can set that all-time high, and that's totally doable. Totally.
That is so interesting. And I wonder if this is kind of segueing right into what I was going to ask you guys, is the vibe of this whole hobby right now. It seems to be on the up and up, especially when it comes to pricing these out. We're a few months removed from the national, of course, about 3-4 months. How would you describe overall this current pulse of the hobby? Do you think the national has set the tone for the market this fall, or has momentum shifted? It sounds like it's shifted in the right direction since then.
Yeah. I will say this. I was talking to my buddy about this. Every single card that I bought and came home with me from the national has gone up in price since then.
Wow.
Like every single card, whether it be 10%, 15%, 20%, every single card has gone up since then. So I think since the national, the hobby has just continued to push. Usually there's an argument like, hey, the market kind of settles down after the national. Dude, I have not seen that at all. All of my buyers are still, readily paying, our agreed upon percentages. Usually it's around after the national. It's like, hey, we'll, kind of slow down a little bit. Dude, it has been as liquid as ever. The market
and
has
this is
been
every
going.
sport as well. Like, doesn't matter the sport.
Mainly football, basketball for me. That's where I like to consider my area expertise. Football, basketball, but I even can think for baseball. The market is still pretty hot.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had we're not baseball people. I like baseball, I like watching it, but the baseball side of the hobby, we just haven't found the same level of success other people have, and so we've kind of leaned into this. I'm more like Pokemon and football on my end of it, but I think it's still the same. Like I think no matter what you have right now, it's going up, especially if it's something that's low pop or something that's like hard to get your hands on. I mean, you can name your price for it almost at this point, as long as it's within, that 20% of comp. I think you've got a shot to move it.
Do you think the reason that the prices are going up is because people are more willing to get into the flip game that's happening right now in this environment of the hobby, or is it because they want to make sure they can secure these for their personal collection, or a little bit of both?
I would say a little bit of both. I think when you get to those bigger names, the GOAT names, the Brady's, the Brons, the Kobe's, I think it's a mixture of both. Like, hey, I really don't mind holding this card for a while, considering it somewhat PC. But if that all-time high sales comes around, I might move it. If I'm into it for a really good price, I might move it at that all-time high comp and use that to my advantage and move that into something bigger. I see a lot of people doing that. If you have something cool and a new all-time high comes out, move it at that price, go get you something nicer. That's kind of been what I've been doing as well, honestly.
Yeah. And I also think the other side of it is, I think maybe not for like grail cards, but just for like high end cards, whether it's good named, autos, low numbered. I think repackers are paying stronger now than ever as well, because they figured out how to move it. I mean, obviously Whatnot is booming right now, as well as Fanatics Live, and I'm sure there's others. eBay's getting into the live, selling game as well. They're paying stronger than ever, and I think that's impacting the entire market.
Yeah.
Football season just started. I want to get into that in just a second. But first, we've been hyping up the hobby a lot on this episode. I think we got to take a step back, maybe play devil's advocate for just a second. If you had to say there was maybe one big misconception people still have about the hobby that stands right now, what would you say it is? Tough one, huh?
That is tough.
Throwing you on the spot. You got one, Zach?
I mean, I'll start at the core of the hobby, which is opening packs, ripping wax. While it might be a great time to be in the hobby, I don't think this is a great time for you to rip wax. I think wax prices are inflated, and that's like the core of all of it. I mean, we've all like ripped packs since we were kids of whatever product, and it's always about that chase. I do think the current state of it, that is not ideal for you to spend money ripping wax right now, which stinks because it's the best part of the hobby.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah,
I think for me,
the same thing.
Yeah, I think for me, I think people were super high on Jaden Daniels last year, and we're in 2 weeks of the NFL season. The sophomore slump is real. He had insane prices in the last year, insane season. It was justified, but the sophomore slump is real. Take your calculated risk, invest wisely. This is not financial advice, but invest wisely when it comes to these rookie quarterbacks and even, some more seasoned quarterbacks. We saw Burrow got hurt yesterday. So invest wisely.
Look at this.
The Burrow thing is a bummer too, because sorry, Christian, like we all knew that the rookie quarterbacks from last year were going to take, that they were going to plummet. I mean, we saw it with Stroud the previous year, Anthony Richardson, obviously, Will Levis, like, that group of quarterbacks. And even though Stroud continued to be solid, in my opinion, and then win a playoff game, like he got a little bit of a bump, but just compared to where he was a year prior to that, it's not even close. And so, like, I am a little surprised how many people thought it would be different with this year's quarterbacks versus last year's. And like, we got out of all of ours like a month ahead of the season. We're like, we're done buying these. And I'm a little surprised at how many people thought it would be different this year than last year.
Yeah, we're already seeing dips with McCarthy. Like in the first half of the first week of the season, he went down, and then of course Sunday Night Football last night, Penix and McCarthy both didn't look hot, and you're seeing dips there. Meanwhile, you have a guy like Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, who's kind of surpassing and bringing back his overall hype. With the football season here, I mean, there's been multiple players that are moving the needle in these early weeks, but it doesn't sound like it's the rookie / second year quarterbacks.
Yeah, definitely not the bigger names. Yeah.
I'm trying to see how much the Jaden Silver has fallen since last year.
Yeah.
I mean, what were those doing at the peak? They're doing around 1,000 in the PSA 10 now. What were they doing this time a year ago? Or I guess shortly after Prism came out. Do you remember?
I want to say like close to that 1,800 2K mark, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, because another thing, the argument was Prism was hard to grade that year, so 10's definitely bought a premium.
That's true.
Yeah, I will say, if you're listening, I don't think Danny Dimes is the investment. Just let it play
It's
out.
insane.
Enjoy the game. Just watch the game and let it play out. Save your pennies, save your dollars. I wouldn't make that investment. That's just me. I mean, but his backup is Anthony Richardson. So
A lot of these cards that have been hyped over the whiles, obviously it's so easy to talk about quarterbacks. That's the one that usually pops in, but there's other names too. Like if you're talking about performances based on value, BTJ is one that pops in my mind. How many drops he had in the game and yesterday's game, he's always been inflated in the market, at least as of right now. What are some non-quarterback position players that you're looking at that might be having their way up? Like, call your shot now. What player do you think has the best by the end of season? Non-quarterback.
Bijan.
That's a good way to end the show.
Oh, okay. Bijan's a good one.
Bijan Robinson. Dude, he's
cooking.
He looked like a beast last night. I was like, as boring as this game was, he was electric.
Going into yesterday, I would have said Jamar Chase. But now with Burrow being down, I don't think it's him. I guess it's just Ramondre Stevenson. I guess it'll just be Ramondre Stevenson.
Wow.
Not even a laugh. Not even a laugh. I PC Ramondre. I have a lot of big Ramondre cards. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a receiver just to be different that I feel like could boom. And I don't know. Nobody's really coming to mind. Who?
T-Mac? He looks pretty
don't
good.
say T-Mac. You'll get the Arizona faithful mad at you. But yeah, Tedoror McMillan. Yeah, I agree with you. That could be a good one. My PC, I'm a Bills fan. I've slowly started to build a Keon Coleman PC, so I'm hoping he's the guy, but I'm not sure if he's the.
He had a good week one, didn't he?
Yeah,
he had good first couple of weeks. Yeah, so far.
I don't watch
see if that works. They play Thursday Night Football, so a good chance maybe to put him in a national spotlight.
Oh yeah, there you go. Malik Neighbors, I think, has been solid so far. A guy who, was kind of one of the top non-quarterbacks in this rookie class. Seems like he's off to a good start. Good market for him to be in too. Yeah, it's just so quarterback heavy. I really like the Bijan pick. I can't come up with anyone that's better than that.
Yeah, I think he's top 5 running backs. Not gonna lie.
Oh, he's higher than that, I think. Yeah.
Top 3?
Sure.
Henry, Saquon, Bijan.
I'm okay with that.
I don't hate it.
I'm okay with that.
But I will ask you,
let's wrap
Zach,
up. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Is Jake Browning a buy? Burrow's out 3 months.
Ooh.
I think he was a buy last week. If you knew,
Yeah.
If you just happen to have Jake Browning cards ready to go, backup quarterbacks, man, they're cheap, and then when they do anything, and you're able to move them, there does seem to be demand for them.
Do they have to only be
Jones.
unproven ones? Oh, okay. You're talking Mac Jones. Maybe not then.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones probably had a few sells that were higher than his average yesterday.
Probably.
Especially when they go to a new team, right? There's probably a lot of 49ers fans that collect cards or whatever, and they just have all these old Trey Lances that they overpaid for a few years ago. But, Mac comes in, wins a game. Did they win?
They won.
Who'd they beat? I'm being
the
mean.
Niners.
I'm sorry.
The Niners are 2-0. Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
Well, who'd they beat, Christian? Who'd they?
Oh no,
Eddie.
Oh no.
But yeah. So it's a new fan base that may want to invest in their one of their new quarterbacks, right? In his rookie cards. So I always think that helps too, because you're going to a new collection of potential collectors, I guess. So that could help. We'll see.
There was a sale last night of a 2019 Panini Luminance Jake Browning Blue number 299, $115.
Okay.
Is it graded or raw?
PSA 10. Wow. PSA 10 2019 Panini
That's
Luminance
insane.
Jake Browning Blue out of 99.
It's probably the only one in the PSA vault. Probably the only one PSA'd.
Probably pop one. Somebody graded this?
It's his highest sale in forever. Everything else is below $30.
I'd love to have that person on the show. All right, you've paid the most for a Jake Browning card more than anyone else. How do you feel?
This won't be his first go around. In 2023, when Burrow went down, he came in. He was 4-4. He had some good games. He had some clunkers. So it's we'll see what happens. But now you have Chase. Now you have Higgins. Who knows if that's going to?
It's a great situation to be in. Just no O-line.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
very true. Hey, before we wrap this up, let's kind of go full circle here. Culture Collision, obviously bringing hobbyists into the year. What can hobbyists take for the rest of the year after Culture Collision, after a few months going into the national, and how can that hobby feeling, that vibe, continue trending into basketball season and 2026?
That was my answer. Buy basketball right now.
Yeah. Buy basketball, buy the goats. Basketball starts in the next month. If you're buying football, it's touch and go. It's week by week. Invest wisely. I think for younger investors, buy who you like. Don't always buy the hype. I think your buy last week of that XRC you bought last week, Zach, was an awesome buy. Buy who you like.
RJ Harvey, baby. Let's go.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, all right, let's wrap it up here. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Cards. You can find all of the stuff on Instagram, YouTube. We're going to have some full content out from the Culture Collision with Zach and Elijah. It's going to be out through the week. A whole bunch of other context. Make sure you hit that subscribe and check it out. We'll be there all week long. And of course, we'll be back here for another episode on Wednesday. Elijah, Zach, I'm Christian Rauh. Take care, guys.